No, I don't care.
Today we're going to talk about grumpy pumpkins, or is that what you called it?
Grumpkin.
Hey, I like your shirt.
Thanks. Oh, look at that. We didn't even try to do that.
I know. Hey, man, how are you?
I'm all right.
It's rain. Is it raining in Fort Worth today?
It rained yesterday, and I think there's a chance of rain today.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah. It was raining buckets yesterday, and it's starting to rain right now. So
You told me you have limited time because you're working on a review. What review are you working on, if it's okay? Because by the time this comes out, maybe your review will be getting ready to go up.
I got to get it done today. It was supposed to be out last week. It's the Serene, the Holo Audio Serene preamplifier. And
we talked about that.
The review is done, and I have like 5 more B-roll shots that I have to get done, or the video.
Absolutely, or it'll look like garbage.
Nobody
will watch. No one would watch it.
Yeah. Nobody. Well, my mom would. My mom would be like, "That was wonderful, son."
That's everybody watches my stuff for the B-roll.
Hey, it's been looking a lot better. Let's give credit where credit is due, man.
It's 100% due to you, Mr. Ron Burgundy.
I'm not there using all that fancy schmancy slider Ronins. You're doing it all, man. So congratulations. It looks great.
Well, you told me how to do it.
Yeah. You just turn it on and move a joystick around. Look at that guy.
No, I tell you what, man, it's because I was so used to doing it just like literally, and it's not hyperbole. When I first started, I literally put a lamp on a trash can.
Yeah.
Literally. That's what I did.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So it's been a journey, and now it's kind of like I do want things to look better.
Sure.
But like it takes me longer to get this lighting stuff right than it does to, just do
the review. Uh-oh. Where did Randy go? Did he leave the broad? I wonder if his power went out. All right. Hold tight, guys. Let me find out what's going on. I'll be back.
Sorry.
Welcome back to the Ron and Randy's Audio Hour. Randy, how are you?
Fine. I'm trying to fix things. I'm all discombobulated. The baby had me up all night last night. And when I say baby, she's 4. So it's not like...
Hey, I just noticed you're in your office. Is your internet working a little bit better now in there?
Yeah, so we upgraded the internet, and then it's a whole thing. Anyway, yes, internet's working better. Short answer. Sorry.
Short answer. Okay, cool. Well, that's great, man. Cool.
So Holo Audio preamp.
Yes, the Serene is what they're calling it. Yep.
Yeah. What else you been working on?
Nothing.
Did you get the Elax bookshelves out?
I did. You know what? Actually, that's not true. I have been working on a lot of stuff, but nothing that would lead to a review. I've been doing a lot of homework. I've been taking some measurements. I've been doing some fact checking. Obviously, I released a review of the towers, and there was a drop in the top end, and so I had to get out the bookies and measure those, see if they measure different, and they do, which is interesting, and I didn't see that coming. So now it's like, game on. We got to investigate this and see what the heck is going on. So,
Fact check.
Fact check. Yeah. I've been making diffusers. That's been a lot of fun. Yeah, a little side project, and I think they're turning out great. I'm stoked to get that finished up and get those in the room. And then I'll start working on the listening room video that a lot of people are excited about. So
take me through like this sound treatment thing. So you set up your speakers, you're bebopping around, you're listening to, let's say, no sound treatment. And then all of a sudden you put up sound treatment and you hear a difference in what?
That's a darn good question, Randy. The truth is, depending on how much treatment that you put down and where you put it, you may not notice much of anything at all. And this is a pitfall that a lot of hi-fi enthusiasts and audiophiles get into, is they they're listening in the room. They're like, oh, I'm going to buy some of these panels from GIK or wherever it is. It doesn't matter. And I'm going to throw them up on the walls, and I'm going to expect to hear, a difference. And often they don't. And it gets discouraging. You're like, am I doing it wrong? Like, what the heck is going on?
Kind of like trying to fight a video.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's been my experience that when you go to treat a room, it's that last word that is the important part. You're treating the room. Like you're kind of all in. You have to like really tackle it. It's not about just putting up 2 or 3 panels and going, oh, is there a difference there? Do I hear a little bit of a difference? Because the chances are you probably won't. And a big thing is, well, what are you treating? Are you treating like bass frequencies, lower bass frequencies? Because that's going to take a ton of treatment to get that under control.
But didn't we kind of talk about that? That's kind of like the least bang for the buck is trying to treat the bass frequencies.
Yeah, it's very difficult because you have longer wavelengths and you're dealing with sound pressure. And so the amount of absorption that you would need to tackle that is, it's a lot. It's a big deal.
Monumental.
Now, I will say this, like in Arizona rooms where it's like all hard surfaces, tile, you have a lot of slapback echo. It's just like, wow, you can't even carry on a conversation. Throwing up a few panels pays big dividends. It does make a difference because as you get higher in frequencies, those frequencies are easier to absorb, easier to tame. And so you might move the ball further in that type of a room than, as an example, this room in Texas where I have hardwood floors and I do have sheetrock, but then behind that, I have shiplap. And so the room sounds a little bit darker than what I'm used to right off the bat. And so I got to be careful about absorption and how much I'm taking away because I kind of like where it's at. You almost
don't want to like take out some of the highs.
Exactly. You want to diffuse the highs, hence, which is why I'm building diffusers. And so,
but not absorb them.
Not absorb them. And that will be a big highlight in the video that I talk about with the diffusers that I have, because out of the box, they actually do both. They absorb and they diffuse. And I'm going to teach you guys a very simple trick on how to move them more in the direction of diffusing and only diffusing and not absorbing so much. So,
interesting.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Interesting. Are you happy with the direction it's going? Have you put up those new panels yet?
I haven't, because I've been busy with a whole bunch of different stuff, and I haven't been able to finish the stands for them. So right now they're just laying against the wall in the room, and I haven't been able to position them or get them up and running yet. But they look great.
I know you've been working on new record day barbecue.
I have.
So I know that's taken up a lot of your time.
I have. When I say that I've been busy, make no mistake, it's been like sitting by a smoker and learning how to smoke ribs. That's been my busy work lately.
It seems like you figured it out fairly quickly because those look delicious.
Thanks, man. Yeah. It's the 3-2-1 method. So it's 3 hours on the grill smoking, 2 hours you wrap them in parchment paper, and then 1 hour back naked on the grill, and you're ready to rock and roll. The 3-2-1.
So where do you take them? What do you do with the parchment paper? Do you put them like in a cooler or something?
You just wrap the ribs. So you're
still leave them on the smoker?
Yep, you still leave them on the smoker. You're just wrapping them. Yep, keep some moisture in there, and yeah, they turned out great. I was very, very happy with my first go around.
Well, good.
So yeah.
What else have you been working on?
That's it, man. I mean, outside of that, it's been still like, you guys can't see this, but on the opposite side of the studio, this has been kind of a dumping room for stuff that we haven't really, you know how it is when you move. It's like you have a room where like, we don't know where we're going to put any of that crap. And I've been working on that as well to clean this all up.
That's just not for people that move. That's for sometimes people that have lived in a house for a long time.
Yeah. So
out of sight, out of mind. Just shove it into a closet.
Exactly. So past that, yeah, that's been it. So Serene review has to be out tomorrow. I'm going to dedicate, as soon as we're done, I'm going back in there and I'm going to finish that dang review and get it up. So that'll be out on my channel tomorrow. And I guess this podcast, I might release this podcast today if that's cool with you, bro. And then you can release yours tomorrow. And so that'll be that. What about you? I know you've been cranking them out left and right.
Yeah. I've been really trying to get serious about it. And so I've had a ton of stuff out. So I guess the PS Audio Sprout.
Yep, Sprout 100. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And then a new i-Fi streamer.
That's right. Yep.
And today I had the Albany KLH Albany 2s go up. Denafrips Aries 2.
Aries 2. That was a big review. That was a masterpiece of a review, if you don't mind me saying. That was
I appreciate you saying that. And the funny thing is I felt like I didn't have a lot to say. I mean, I felt like the review was, this thing makes music sound real.
Yeah.
That was the review. It makes music sound real. It's just awesome. Yeah. And unfortunately, I didn't have either the ability or I just didn't have a way to actually give it justice on what it does. So I think that's the only thing I could come up with that gave that piece of equipment justice. Is it's real.
Yeah.
All of it. It's like Han Solo in that.
When you said that in the review, I was thinking of that line. I was like, it's all real. It's all real.
It's real. Yeah. All of it.
All of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, dude, it was great. I mean, it was so cool to see you unpack the review that way, because when I reviewed the Denafrips Terminator, which was one of the big moments for me where I was like, the way that I described it was, you're working in the heat all day in the Arizona hot sun, and you jump into just a perfectly refreshing swimming pool. It's just, like, oh man, everything just works, you know? Yeah. And the way you were describing it in a totally different way, I connected to that. I was like, I know exactly what he means word for word. I know exactly what he means by, it just sounds real. It sounds so engaging and lively, and yet never forward, never bright, never trying to capture your attention with one specific thing.
Everything just fell into place. It was as far as like what I thought it should sound like. But you know, I've gotten a chance to listen to a fair number of DACs, you know, affordable DACs, and some are better than others, or some. I can't say some are better than others. I like some better than others because of my personal taste, and that's just me. I'm not saying this one's better than the other. But with that one, it was just like, it was a different animal, right? It was just like we were driving around Fords, and now all of a sudden we hopped into a Ferrari, you know?
Yeah.
It just was.
But you didn't have to pay for the Ferrari. I mean, that's not a crazy expensive DAC. I mean,
no, but I still got a lot of comments. Oh, this isn't affordable. This isn't that. But I mean, I still think, you know, 700. The exchange rate comes to about 775. And I still think at that point it's an achievable piece of equipment.
It is.
For most people that save their pennies, because if you can afford a $500 DAC, chances are you can probably, if you just squeeze it in, and then, you know, maybe a month or two more, or 3 months more, maybe a year more, it doesn't matter. But for me, it's kind of, this is it. You know, this is kind of the benchmark for me of which I judge all other DACs to.
Yeah.
And I do have the Ship Bifrost in, and I do have the Topping E90, and all of them are in the same price range. So it will be a nice
comparison.
Way. Yeah, it'll be a nice comparison. And
Battle of the DACs. Yeah. And
I haven't listened to the Topping, but I've listened to the Ship Bifrost, and it's wonderful as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think
real
I'm going to
smooth.
Hear, right. It's great, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to A/B them to see, okay, where's the differences at here?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's great, man.
It's Denafrips, very remarkable piece of equipment. Remarkable.
That's awesome. That's great, dude.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah.
KLH, good little speaker.
Yeah, the Albany, right?
Mm-hmm. You know, it's spec down at 35 hertz.
Are you serious?
I swear to you, I thought it was a typo. I went to like 4 different websites.
Do you hear bass that I didn't.
I will tell you this. it may have, okay, when you like look at response curves, have you ever seen something like do the slowest roll off ever, but it starts at like 250 hertz? So it may like, because when I'm looking at specs and I'm looking at 35, I'm like, whoa, this thing should be bassy. And I put it on there and it's completely the opposite. And I'm like,
not bassy. Yeah.
Where is the bass?
Well, I mean, it's negative 20 dB at 35.
But it says, no, it says negative 3. It does. I'm serious.
What?
I swear to you. But like, it may be, I don't think so, but it must start rolling off at 200.
I got to see this for myself. I'm looking. I got to do
Albany 2. KLH Albany 2.
All right, here we go.
35 to 23K.
They're $300 for the pair.
Mm-hmm. About the size of a shoebox.
What? 35 hertz to 23K. And they're 92 dB sensitive. Let me tell you something.
I'm telling you, bro.
This reminds me of similar lies that I told my wife before we got married. And then the truth was found out. But we won't go into those details. Yeah, 35 hertz. Okay.
Well, and I couldn't get over it. I mean, like half of the review, I'm just like kind of giggling and laughing. I'm like, because I've heard bookshelves that hit maybe 39, 37, and they are huge. I mean, it like the cabinet is the size of a like a fridge that you give your kid when they go into the dorm, right?
Right.
They're barely bookshelves. 7-inch woofers, high excursion woofer. You know, big speakers. Yeah. And I'm like that can't be right. Maybe that's a typo. And I go, no.
I will tell you right now, it would be a miracle if those are 30. That's interesting. Okay. I got to be more diplomatic. I'd have to investigate that to find out.
Well, I put it on a tone generator.
Yeah.
And I could hear something at 35 hertz. I could. And that was in room, right?
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is okay, let's just say for argument's sake that there is something going on at 35 hertz.
Yeah.
But you know, when I built out some speakers and I modeled the enclosures, you know, and tuned, and it's a ported, it's sealed. It's hitting 35. It's a ported design, right? So when I would design speakers, if I wanted to just tune it down to the very, like the lowest I could, you can do that, but it starts rolling off like again at 200 hertz or whatever it is. And so it's there. The point I'm trying to make is there's no bass presence. I'm listening to the speaker, and if I didn't know it had a port, I would have literally said this is a sealed box.
Well, let's be fair. How much time have you put on them? I mean, have you put some time on them? Do you think
I've had them running for 2 weeks?
Oh, okay. So we'll scratch that.
No, and what I do is when I get a new speaker in, you know, that's kind of my background speaker for a couple of weeks.
For sure.
Either that
I do
or
the
like,
same.
Like the Wharfdales are in my room right now. They've been running, you know, nonstop for a while, you know, just with TV shows and things like that.
Yeah.
It's not like I took them out of the box and did the review. These have been around they're the size of a shoebox though.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how that math works.
Yeah.
I mean, they were thin sounding.
Yeah.
Thin. They're very thin sounding.
Yeah.
And so another reason why specs don't always tell the whole story.
No, they don't. They don't. Yeah, you know, and the thing about it is, of all of these specifications that I wish the industry would consider altering or changing is actually bass frequencies. And the reason being is when you say something like that, just broadband, negative 3 dB at 35 hertz, what exactly does that mean? And how did you get that number? And what I mean by that is, are you talking in room?
In room?
Are you with boundary
Anechoic?
reinforcement? Is it anechoic? Like, I need to know, because this gets frustrating reviewing a loudspeaker when you see those numbers and then you start running sweeps and you're like, I'm not even close. In what conditions did you get that? Because I need to know, like, was it an inch away from the wall, 2 inches away? Like, and I think a lot of times these are the games that they play is they try to set it up in the most wonky way to get the lowest frequency possible. And I think it's a bit odd. You know, it's like, give us a real, like, I wish there was just a standardized way of this is the number, you know?
Yeah.
It'd be easier.
Well, and I think it does a disservice to the consumer because
Totally. Yeah, totally.
who's going to have the actual opportunity to go listen to these things? Few.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very few people.
Yeah.
So a lot of their decision making is probably done on taking a look at the specs.
Yeah.
And the opposite is true with Q Acoustics. They're very conservative with their low bass.
Oh, totally.
And I have always been amazed at the amount of bass that comes out of a Q acoustic speaker.
You see the specs and you're like, okay, this is going to be tame. And then it smacks you upside the head and you're like, well, thank you. Yeah.
So I always have to take it with a grain of salt. You know,
Totally.
It's just a lesson I've learned. And now, granted, I've had the luxury of being able to listen to a lot of speakers. So
yeah.
But I feel bad for the folks that look at that and they get it and they're thinking, okay, this thing's going to be great.
35 hertz. You don't need a sub. I mean, we're talking spatial audio Sapphire territory, 215-inch woofers. Those in room will hit 35. Flat down to 35, and it's like then it drops off. It's like
most of the towers that I've reviewed don't hit 35 hertz.
No, they have trouble even digging past 40. It's like you hit 40, and you're like, well, thank you, that's nice. Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't mean to pick on it, but I mean, that is. I don't know if that's what they should be doing.
Yeah. Maybe it is a typo. Maybe marketing got the wrong number. Maybe it was supposed to be 45 or 55 or.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say this thing maybe hits 55.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like the speaker besides that. I mean, I really liked it. But even in an office, you need a sub with it.
All right, let's move on.
It's the size of a shoebox. Come on. I mean,
all right,
it's a
KLH.
shoebox.
Hey, so did you get that direct through KLH or was that sent in by?
No, viewer sent that in.
Viewer sent it in. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. KLH doesn't talk to me. Probably won't now.
They will. They will. I've actually been chatting with them, and I mentioned you, and they're dealing with every issue known to man when it comes to getting parts and things that they need.
Well, they're very popular. That Model 5 is really popular.
Well, that's the thing is that sucker is like they're having a hard time producing as many of those as they need to be producing. But the last time I talked to KLH, they said really soon we'll get it to you and then send it over to Randy and have him give it a whirl. So we'll make it happen.
Surprised they even knew who I was.
I told him. I sent a picture of Sylvester Stallone. I was like, this is the cheap audio man.
Yeah.
And they were like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, it is.
That's him.
That's him.
Yep.
He's on my channel. He just grew a beard. He looks a little different.
Nah, that's not him.
Yeah.
What else?
That's all I got, man. What else do you got?
Did a little video on high-res music.
Oh, dude, that was so good. So good.
Like
what is the reception been on that?
Almost. Well, to be fair, I don't spend as much time in the comments as I probably should.
Yeah.
It has a tendency to make me sad on the inside.
Yeah.
For the most part, everything that I've read is pretty much in line with what my take on it was. And my take was it's a very difficult thing to actually test whether or not high res makes a difference, because you would need to test a non-high res track versus a high res track on the same equipment. if you're testing MQA, it would have to be on the same equipment, so it's a difficult thing to do. Now I did it, and I mean, I tested Spotify, and here's another thing, right? If you're testing across different platforms, I don't care what people say, those platforms, the different Amazon versus Spotify versus Tidal, there's a little bit of magic sauce in there that they are putting on that music.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So they are putting their tweak on it. Excuse me, I'm going to cough. Of what? And actually, I watched a couple of Golden Sounds videos about MQA.
Yeah.
And very interesting. And I don't have any issue with Tidal and MQA. But I'm also not, this is the greatest thing in the world. But I do take a little bit of issue, with some of their marketing speak that and how they've treated this guy. So I think that's a little odd. What I also find odd, and I was talking about this on my Zoom meeting, is so through that streaming video that I did, I kind of went through Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Tidal, Qobuz, as far as like subscription base.
Yeah.
How many people subscribe? First of all, Tidal is a little bit ambiguous because they've kind of lost money all the time. Now they just got purchased by Square, or a controlling portion of the shares were purchased by majority portion of the shares were purchased by Square, which is also kind of a head scratcher. But anyway, let's say they have, and the estimate, the high estimate on their subscription base is 5 million.
Okay.
All right. So you got 5 million versus 70 million for Amazon Music versus 80 million, 90 million for Apple Music versus 150 million for Spotify. And then, so Tidal's the only one that's using MQA, right?
Yeah.
But it seems like all the hardware companies are like MQA. And I feel like this is the tail wagging the dog here. I'm like, why are so many hardware companies paying the money to license MQA to put it in their hardware when, if we're really being honest with ourselves, the amount of people now, maybe Tidal, so many audiophiles subscribe to Tidal. I don't know whether that's the reason. It just seems odd to me how many people are touting MQA as such a feature for their DACs.
Yeah.
When it's, I mean,
such a small margin. Yeah. It's like,
besides Qobuz, I mean, it's the smallest subscription music service out there.
Yeah. Yeah. You ask a good question. That's a thought. What do you guys think? Post your comments down below. Let us know what you think. That's an interesting onion to peel back. I'm curious what the fine folks that watch the podcast think.
Well, even in, and I didn't know this till I watched Golden Sound's video. And I don't have a horse in this race, right? Because I like Rune, and most of the music I listen through Rune is Tidal, and I enjoy it. I think it's great. But even in their patent, they have this little section, and that in that little section, it's something called like something to lossless decoder or something. It's just some ambiguous magic little box that they have registered in their patent. And,
interesting.
And they use terms like de-blurring, which is something that they've created.
Oh,
so they use a term that they created to defend the fact that they are not lossless or lossless, and they used to say they're lossless, but now they're backing up, on that term, whether or not they're lossless. So it's a very, very interesting thing to go through. And again, I don't really care. It sounds good. I've talked to other people who think, really enjoy Tidal. Yeah. But I think there's a responsibility to tell the truth.
To be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing about like mastering, like apparently Warner Brothers put all of their music into, or a significant portion of their music into the masters, because Tidal says, no, well, it's, the artist is agreeing that this is the master's quality. And then Warner Brothers just uploads all of their stuff in masters, half the artists are dead. It's like there's zero chance that the artists are going back and say, yeah, I prove that. I prove that. I prove that.
It's not happening.
That's not happening, right?
Right.
So just tell the truth. Hey, whatever.
Just be honest.
This is what we do. We put a little magic sauce on it, and I think our magic sauce is better than other people's magic sauce.
Yeah, and
be done with it.
He already agreed to be on here, and I've been so backlogged with projects since I've moved to Texas, but we have a lot of guest speakers that we want to. Yeah, I know. Ron, just shut your mouth and get back to work. Get back to work. Stop messing around.
You got Golden Sound to agree to be on?
I'm sure we could get Golden Sound on. He's a great guy. What I was going to say is David Solomon of Cobuzz agreed to be on here. And I think it would be interesting to get somebody like that on here and talk about, is there a magic sauce and what is it? Like, what is it that you guys are doing? And even more like, how does this all work? Like, literally, what is the functionality of how you get music on the servers? What is that process like? How does this all work? I don't get it. Like, I really want to know and understand fully how these streaming services even work in terms of where they're getting the files, how they're getting the files, how they're unpacking the files, how they're getting it on the servers. I want to hear all that. And to your point, bro, even before we get into if there is a special sauce, one thing that I do know for sure is that there are settings that are sometimes buried deep within these interfaces that a lot of folks might not even realize are even enabled, such as Tidal's normalize function, to where all the tracks are normalized to be the same volume to go from track to track. And it's like, for me as a purist, that's the first stuff that I turn off. Right. I don't want you to do anything to what the artist intended, and then I'll decide whether I need to turn it up or turn it down. I get to decide that. I don't want you to decide that for me. So,
what's interesting?
Yeah.
So I talked to our good friend Steve Gutenberg on Sunday.
Good old Steve.
For a good while. And
I didn't even realize there's cell reception from the trailers. That's interesting. I'll have to look into that.
Oh, your trailer that you keep them in?
Yeah. I
slipped him a cell phone last time. No.
Okay.
So we're talking about high-res music. We're talking about remasters and things like that. And he knows a fair number of people in the industry, like music industry, not just like the audio industry.
Right.
I don't remember the artist, but anyway, somebody remastered a record for him and they wanted to get the artist approval. And they're like, yeah, just play it through the phone. And so someone held up a phone and they're listening to it and they're like, yeah, that's good. So that, in some circumstances, that is the artist approving the remaster or the master's quality. Yeah,
they're like,
sounds good.
Sounds good. Let it ride. Let's do it.
Yeah. Steve's point was they don't care.
They don't care.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. Well, this was a fun podcast.
I thought that was an interesting take, and he's probably right.
Probably right, man.
Or at least he's right in that circumstance. But I guarantee you, there's probably more than that. I don't know if they say the artist cares. This is the artist. Do they? I don't know.
Well, I'm not a big fan of blanket statements. I'm sure there are many that do, and I'm sure that there are many that don't. It's like.
What I have a problem with is when a manufacturer says this has been approved, this is what the artist intends, using that type of speak, because now they're making blanket statements.
Yeah, they are. Right.
And so
let the artist speak for the artist. Like, let them speak for themselves. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So it is what it is. I'll tell you, if it wasn't for Rune, I probably wouldn't listen to the title.
Yeah. I love Rune. I love that
Rune is awesome.
It's great. I love Rune.
Yeah, I actually built a whole bunch of stuff specifically for Rune. Look at this.
How about that?
Deck of cards.
That's just an external hard drive, Randy.
No, it's not. This is
you don't build external hard drives.
You know what I don't build anymore?
What?
DIY speakers.
We're done with that. That venture
That
has
ship
come to an
has sailed.
If you need speakers built,
I may build
the price,
one a month.
I'll let him know, guys. The price has gone from $350 to $10,000, and he'll get one done a month.
Yeah, that's about where we're at. You know what's so sad? Those ones that I like had to refinish like 5 times, and they were beautiful. I'm sending you pictures, sending all my friends pictures. The customer received them yesterday. In shipping, they get messed up. The veneer starts peeling off the top of one of the speakers. He's gonna take him to a woodworking buddy, and he's gonna even have the color changed. So it's like I refinished these things 5 times.
Those were those real pretty ones that I saw when I was at your house. Oh, those were great.
Yeah,
they looked great.
Yeah.
They looked solid. Yeah. So that's a shame, buddy.
It's literally funny at this point about but that's been the I'm telling you, if you do DIY speakers and you finish them, don't move them.
No,
it's kind of like a piece of IKEA furniture. Put it together and leave it alone. Don't start moving around.
Put it on a bar stool or a speaker stand, and don't touch it.
Just leave it alone.
Yeah, let it collect dust. Yeah.
So I feel really bad about it. I offered the guy a partial refund or refund or whatever, and he's like,
"You're a sweetheart. You're a sweetheart." Well, cool, man. I want to get working on the Serene review, so let's cut this one a little bit short. This is fun, though. Right. This was a great podcast. I like this one. Yeah. Folks, this podcast is available on all of the major platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, you name it. Links will be down below. You want to take us home, Randy?
I don't even know what that means.
I don't even know.
If you like what we're doing over here at New Record Day and Cheap Audio, man, subscribe. Hit the bell notification button so you know when all our videos are dropped so you don't miss anything.
And we're out. All right, guys. We'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.